She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace. She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace.
Hello, litigators and opinionators. Court is now in session. How is everybody doing? I hope you're having a great Saturday thus far. Hello, Betty. How are you doing, sunshine? Oh my gosh, guys. We have been covering a very disturbing story about a musician, ironically speaking, a young musician, I'll just do a brief background about him before I get into the story. His name is David Burke. He was about, I would say, 17 or 18 when he was discovered as a celebrity. Basically, he started out like kind of like a nerdy, geeky kid. He was born in New York, and then his family moved to Houston, Texas. And, that's where he and his siblings, he has a brother and he has a little sister. They all moved there with his father, who is, I believe his father is an attorney. And his mother, they, lived in Texas, had a good life. He was very much into into gaming. He really was obsessed with Fortnite and, video games. And so he would stay home, play Fortnite pretty much all day. And his mom, at first she was a little worried about him because he was being homeschooled. He did not go to a public school, so he had been raised pretty much at home with his siblings. He didn't have much public exposure. So he's one of those kids that don't have much social interaction because he pretty much was isolated in his home with his mom and dad and siblings and was homeschooled throughout his life. And his parents are very deeply religious. He went to church a lot growing up. So he has a religious background and he speaks about that a lot. So basically, because he was kind of this kid that didn't have much social interaction, he pretty much became obsessed with video gaming. So he would be on Fortnite, he would be playing games, texting people. Social media was the central focus of his life. And how he got his fame was when he tried to become a really good big YouTuber through gaming and kind of showing some of the different games he did on YouTube. And he started out covering different artists' music. He even used a chickmunk voice to kind of change the sound to try to make it his own. And at first he was doing pretty well online. I mean, a lot of people started following him. They liked his music. And then all of a sudden, UGM, which is a very well-known music company, record label, they started to copyright strike his songs because they weren't his songs. He was basically taking other people's artist songs and putting it as background music to some of the different videos of his gaming. And so he talked to his mom about it because now he was basically not getting paid anymore because he wasn't using his own music, and the record label UGM was starting to strike his various YouTube videos. So then his mom was like, hey, you sing pretty well. I think he was also singing in the choir at his church. So he kind of had somewhat of a music voice. She said, you sing pretty well, son. So why don't you just go ahead and just make your own songs? So he was like, that's a good idea. So he went to his little sister's room, and there was a walk-in closet in her room. This is key because in his room, he does not have a walk-in closet. So he didn't really have a space where he could record his own songs. So he took his iPhone, went to his little sister's walk-in closet, shut the door, and made it his own little studio. And he started making his own songs by using his iPhone. And I believe he might have downloaded an app to kind of change the quality of the sound of his songs. And so he blew up because he made one song. He posted it online in his background of one of his Fortnite video clips, and it blew up. Everybody liked his song. It was actually called Romantic Homicide. And this song has been one of the central concerns with a lot of people. A lot of people have heard this song. It was made back in 2022. And basically he says, in the back of my mind, you died and I didn't even cry. I killed you. Those words are very disturbing and decrepit. And a lot of people are now bringing up this song because it seems to be somewhat of a confession of what he may have done to the little girl he had been dating. You see, this kid here, he's not a kid anymore. He's a grown man. He's 20 years old now. But at the time when he was 17 years old, he met a little girl. She was about, I believe she was about 7 years old, or 11, sorry. Well, you guys got to do the math because I'm terrible at math. He was 17 when he first met her. So she had to have been, let's see, 12 years old, sorry, because they're 5 years apart in age. He met her online, and there had been some disturbing things coming out about this young man here. You see, because he doesn't have social interactions with kids, he did not have that interaction growing up. He was secluded, he was homeschooled. There was a sick kind of sick mind that he developed, meaning he was very, very insecure. So for some reason, he wasn't attracted to girls his age. From what I'm observing, it seems as though he was attracted to girls that were significantly younger and innocent than him. And so he was on this group called Discord. He was just now getting his career started. You know, record labels started contacting him about his music. So he was in the very beginning of his career as a musician, and signed with the record label at that time, just starting out. And he started this group called Discord. I said called Discord. Sorry, Discord was already a platform. He started a group in Discord, and in that Discord, he was only inviting young kids and very, very underage young girls in that group. He would not invite any girls his age. They were always at least 10, 11, 12, maybe 13, but they were young girls. And a lot of the people in this Discord, they started to comment. The kids were all teenagers, and they're like, hey, why is he always inviting these kids, little girls to his Discord? It started getting kind of suspicious, to the point where people started talking even back in 2022, 2023 about this kid. In fact, there was one particular person that did back in 2023. He tried to warn people. He was a 16-year-old kid that lived in Egypt. And he tried to warn people. He was telling people, hey, this, because basically, let me talk a little bit about this guy, because he's getting a lot of flack online. He became pretty close with David, and they actually recorded a song together. I'll show you this guy because we're going to get into him. We're kind of take this bit by bit. I may not be able to get through everything right now. I might have to come back later. But here was the kid. He's older now, but back in 2023, he was 16 years old. He was a 16-year-old kid, and he was, pretty fond of David's music when he first started out, and they did a collab together. They recorded a song. It was actually this young man's song, but let me try to get his eyes open. There it is. I don't know how I can get. So this was his app. This was his page here. Let's see if we can get this going. I'm going to play his video, but I just want to kind of talk a little bit about what was going on first before I play it. So the Egypt guy had a song, and David here did a feature with the 16-year-old kid on his song. And so they were pretty good friends at the time. But then this kid started noticing, hey, something's kind of weird about this guy. Like, he's always attracted to these young teenage girls. And he started getting kind of creeped out. So then he started warning people back in 2023. He was like, hey, guys, this guy's over here, like, always attracted to these young girls. Something's not right about him. And, David had already been signed with a reputable record label. He had the money. He had legal support. So his legal support started threatening this young boy. They took down the song that David had collabed with him. They started threatening him, saying they were going to sue him. And him being a kid, they lied to him, saying, hey, you're going to be in jail for slander. First of all, slander is not a crime. It's a libel suit. So you can only sue someone for defamation if they lie, but you can't. It's not a crime where they can be arrested for a slander or a false statement, unless it's a false statement to a law enforcement. that is a crime. But if it's a false statement just about a civilian saying this person did A, B, and C and they really didn't do it, well, that's only a civil lawsuit where they can sue for monetary damages. So anyways, but this guy he was only 16 years old, he had no clue what, was going on. He was scared. He talked to David about it and he said, hey, David, like these people are saying that you're like a predator, you're a PDF file, and you're targeting these young kids, these young girls, like what's up? And then David's like, hey, they're lying. These are just false rumors. And so he came out now after all this stuff is coming out about David. If you want to know the full background, go to my first part 2 of this. I really break down like some of the allegations going on with David. But this is part 2. Anyways, so now that he's coming out, he's telling people, hey, I tried to warn you guys back in 2023. People didn't want to listen to me. And then people started jumping on him saying that he knew about Celeste and David when now he has to come to defend himself. So let's hear what he has to say.
For tweets that he has been making where he claims that he had been trying to expose David since all the way back in 2023. At the time, this guy who was trying to expose him was only 16 years old. He's been catching heavy backlash online with people doubting his explanation of things, right? It's a highly Right now, to add context, this guy apparently was a member of David's Discord server. He was a fan. He ended up becoming friends with David somewhat. They shared conversations back and forth. They even did a song together at one point. But this guy noticed suspicious behavior way back in 2023 and pretty much was calling David out on it. So he posts this up and it's got these screenshots, right? And so the first screenshot shows these messages between this person, James.
And let's read this together. It says here, he only adds underage girls. They're talking about David. They're like, people were saying this back in 2023, like, dude, you only add underage girls. What's really going on? Like, people are getting suspicious. You see, because David has this sick obsession and kind of like a sick desire for underage girls because of his insecurities. And this is my opinion. I'm not speaking this as if it's a fact. It's just me looking from the outside looking in. It appears it's because he didn't have much social interaction growing up. He was homeschooled, sheltered kid. His interactions with girls have been a situation that I believe triggers his insecurities. So in my opinion, it seems as though he likes the younger girls that he can groom. He can groom and brainwash these young girls into doing whatever he wants. Whereas a girl his age is likely going to walk all over him and have confidence and be able to tell if he's, if he is manipulating them. Another thing about David is what I've observed is he's excessively jealous. He reposted certain things on his Instagram claiming that he would pour boiling hot water on a girlfriend if she said happy birthday to someone else, because he's saying, well, why do you need to say happy birthday to another man? That's the type of stuff he reposted on his social media, which tells me he had a sick mindset of jealousy, control when it comes to girlfriends. So it appears to me he likes the younger kids that he can brainwash, he can control, manipulate. But let's keep going.
Buttergun and Inglesi, and you can see James says he only adds underage girls, and Inglesi says, I know, right? And James says, I'm not joking either. He had a second screenshot with that where people continue to discuss it. The first message says David only talks to women from the server.
And that's very, very important. David develops these relationships with these underage girls on the internet. Because again, he's like, to me, I think of him like sort of like an incel, someone very insecure, secluded, doesn't have much skills with social interaction. And so his confidence is only through a screen. He has to be able to coddle girls and manipulate young girls through social media. That's how he met Celeste, through his interactions with her. He added her as a moderator when she was about 11 or 12 to his social media group. And that's how he began to groom her, while he also groomed other young girls. So Celeste was not the only girl that he had been trying to groom and manipulate and basically brainwash.
Inglesi says, oh, bro is a simp. Ha 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 ha. He said, for real, Wow. And this person responded and said, they're also usually 15 to 16 too. And Inglesi responded with, what the David is a PDF. And you can see by the timestamp on these messages, these were sent all the way back in March of 2023. He continued posting on X. He posted this picture right here up. It says David yet again with the 13-year-old. I have endless proof. It needs to be brought to the light, right?
And you can see here, this is a receipt from the young 16-year-old boy from Egypt, again, who did the collab with him. He was starting to expose him, and this was back in 2023. You can see curly hair. This was Celeste. He was laying down with little Celeste, 13 years old, guys. 13 years old. This is when he was already 18 years old. His birthday was the end of March 30th. So he had already turned 18 years old. She was a 13-year-old kid, and he's laying down with her. Disgusting. And this is again 2023.
And then he went on to add context. He said, as you guys know, I used to be friends with David. We did songs together. We're often associated with each other, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just want to say from this day on, I will no longer associate myself with him and had no idea of the disgusting things that he was doing. He posted this tweet and then he later deleted it. Somebody called him out and said, I love how he deleted this tweet. And he responded to that saying, I deleted this tweet as to not confuse people. Yes, I knew about the stuff from 2023. However, most of it was brushed off. And even David himself reached out and said that the allegations weren't true, but it all makes sense now, right? So people started calling him out saying, if you knew about this stuff back in 2023, why didn't you say anything about it? Why are you waiting till now to come forward with these screenshots? And so this guy actually made a video where he tries to explain away his situation, everything that went on. Apparently, he threatened him.
I have this whole new confidence level that I've never had before. For the past 17 years, I hated my post-baby body.
They're mad at me because in 2023, y'all have seen the current David situation. In this video, I just want to address some stuff. Now, a lot of people on Twitter are mad at me because in 2023, I tried to expose David for what he was doing at the time. And I just want to clear up that the stuff from 2023 was not about the Celeste girl that was obviously recently in the news. It's nothing to do with her. I didn't know about her. I didn't know she was 13. I maybe heard her name once or twice. I had nothing to do with her. The stuff I have from 2023 was nothing to do with Celeste. These were other girls, underage girls, that had claimed David had messaged them or had, relationships with them or, doing inappropriate things with them. And I want people to know that in 2023, I did try and bring the situation to light. And a lot of people remember, I was having a lot of shit for it. It got so bad that David's legal team had got in contact with me to remove everything. I've attached an email here that I received from his team in 2023. And basically they removed my song with David from, streaming services because apparently I was spreading misinformation. The thing is, after that, I got in touch with David and I was like, yo, are the claims true and all of this? And he was like, he literally said, I've got it here. He said, no, it's just some people trying to get clout. There's no evidence and stuff. After that, everything was shut down. Everything, no one else came out after that. So from my point of view, you guys need to understand that it did look like they were just claims. So a lot of people are asking me, why was I promoting a song in 2024 and 2025 that I had with David? It's because the claims that I had in 2023 were, put on hold. It's as if they didn't exist. I had no idea. I was told that they were false by David and his legal team. So after the whole situation happened, I actually felt bad for, spreading misinformation. I thought it was all fake. Obviously, with the stuff that's happened in the past 24 hours, I realized that, they're now real. And some people have come out to me and told me that, it was true. Not just that, but in 2023, when I made the claims, David's legal team did not want anyone to know that David was doing this type of stuff. So basically they blamed me and said that I was leaking music, but I wasn't leaking any music. They blamed me for leaking music. I was leaking the facts. So they just said that they're going to blame me for leaking music. That's my punishment. My song is off. That's it. And you guys need to understand that I felt terrible. I felt like I was going to ruin his career out. I felt like I was spreading misinformation for him. I felt disgusting, bro. I was like, I gave him claims that weren't true because from what it looked like to me, they weren't true. They were cleared and everything. No one else came out after that. But then obviously now it's a different story. That's why I was promoting the songs in 2024, 2025. I was cool with him. I wasn't like, friends with him and stuff, but I didn't have a problem with him. Little do I know that he hated me. He has me blocked on Twitter right now, and he's blocked me within the past 24 hours because I was not blocked prior to, everything happening. And also, I just want to add that I live in Egypt. I don't live in the US. I can't go to NYPD. I can't go to LAPD. I can't get in touch with the FBI. The stuff that I have was just Discord messages, You know, I didn't have any solid evidence that he did it. But now obviously looking at it, it makes sense. So I just wanted to clear it up because a lot of people think I'm doing it for clout and I'm doing it for this and I'm doing it for that. I'm just doing it because I felt the time was right. And I've been sitting on this information and I'm just glad it's out now. I also want y'all to know that I was 16. I was a kid. I was scared. You know, I didn't want any legal things to happen. I didn't want my family to get involved. I was a 16-year-old kid. I was petrified. But that's it, really. I just wanted to mention that I don't have anything to do with Celeste. I'm praying for her family. There's a GoFundMe link. It'll be in my comments. I'll try pin it. And at this time, we just need to pray for the best. And hopefully this dude gets what he deserves. And I'm so sorry for not speaking about this sooner. I was scared and I'm doing what I can now.
And so that was one of the kids. And like this kid, even though he's 15 or 16 at the time, and you could see the text messages and the messages here, and he made this song, this guy seemed to have a sick obsession with kids. Now, here is an actual screenshot of another correspondence that he had with a different young girl. So this was leaked. This was a text message with another underage girl. So it was a leaked message that allegedly showed, I'm just going to say David. I'm not going to say D4VD, but you guys know his name, manipulating a different underage high school girl in 2023 with secretive emotional tactics, though she opted to stay anonymous for her safety. So back in 2023, he also was trying to groom another underage girl while he was still dating Celeste, the other little underage girl. I think she was about 12 or 13 back. Sorry, she was. This is what day this is. This is June 14th of 2023. She would have been she would have been 12. Her birthday would have been September 7th. So Celeste would have been turning 13 September 7th of 2023. But while he was still dating this underaged 12-year-old girl, Celeste, he was grooming a whole other underage girl. And here what he says here, and it seems like David has an attraction with Hispanic Latina girls, because that seems to be the underage girls that he targets. So here he says, hola, okay, so I've been up all night thinking logically about you, work life, relationships, and realize something that you'd agree with if you see it the way I do. Straight from my heart, I really, really, really love you. This is disgusting. How are you telling this underage girl that you love her when you claimed you love Celeste at the same time? I mean, this guy was just grooming all kind of young girls. Anyways, he says, but I have been checking my schedule for the rest of this year and next year, and I'm barely in Texas. So this must have been a young girl he was grooming in Texas where he lived at. But let's keep going. I believe long distance relationships work under the right conditions, like you being able to travel with me, etc. But you're still in school. With that also being said, I don't like hiding anything from anyone. I would love to have a public relationship with someone, but the way this is going, if we have to be a secret or something, he's basically trying to make her think, oh, I don't mind us being public, but he's trying to groom her to say it needs to be a secret. And you notice how he has that tattoo that has the shh, and little Celeste had the same shh, because he manipulates these girls. As you can see, that's his pattern of telling these girls that these relationships have to be secret because he doesn't want to be exposed as a PDF file, if you guys know what I mean. But let's keep going. He says, I want to be happy, but you still have so much left to do in these last 2 years of high school. And anyone I would love to have a public relationship with. I'm sorry, this thing kind of goes back to the part. It says last 2 years of high school, and it may change your view on its entirety. He meant entirety. I would gladly wait for you if we are both in the right headspace. And when that time comes, I want to still be here for you, though. At talk like we did before, it got complicated. Laughing my A off. I love and care about you and need to make sure you're not alone. We are interlinked. Please express yourself thoroughly, please. Okay. No, okay, I or KK. I want to know everything going through your head. So you see like how he talks. He's very smooth. He's very cunning. He's very charming with his manipulative ways. And these kids, again, their minds aren't really developed. So these young girls are thinking this guy is telling the truth. He's valid. But this young girl, she wanted to come out anonymously to share her own text messages that she had from him back in 2023 when he tried to groom her while he was still dating Celeste, the little other young girl. It's just crazy, y'all. Then another twisted thing comes along, guys. I have been looking around and I noticed an interview that he did back in 2020. What year is this? 4 months ago. Oh gosh, 2025. Just 4 months ago, guys. So remember we talked about that song he released that he didn't want to release. It was called Romantic Homicide. So let's go to that real quick before I go to this interview, because this interview gave me chills down my spine and I had to share it with you. Anyways, so you remember this song? We talked about this in part 1. He wrote this song in 2023. Ironically, he released it on little Celeste's birthday. Remember, her birthday is September 7th and she was born in 2010. He released 2 different songs on September 7th. He also, his last post from this year was September 7th on his Instagram. This guy had a psychotic obsession with this little girl. Look at this real quick. So this is the very last post that David ever released on his Instagram. If you go to it, look, it says September 7th. And he has not posted ever since. So it says Withered, Massacre since, out September 19th. Every song written exclusively by me. The album is very disturbing too, by the way. But anyways, favorite issues, take the pictures, etc. But he last posted on his Instagram September 7th. This guy is sick. And look, if you scroll to the next one, you'll see that this was just a pinned item. So you know that this right here is the last time he posted on his freaking Instagram. That just shows how methodically this kid, this psychopath, not even a kid, he's a grown man, he's 20 years old. This psychopath thinks everything he does is centered around Celeste after she has even been unalived. Now, another theory I'm kind of coming across here before I get into the interview, I'm going to get into it, guys, hold on. But another twisted theory here is a few years, I think it was last year, he posted on one of the social media apps that he said that he and the little girl, Celeste, were, together, and that they were going to have a child together. That was very disturbing. And this little girl, she also was in a social media group, and she posted a photo of her wearing a ring that she says was a wedding ring from David, and saying that they were engaged. And this is still a little girl back in 2024 of last year. She was supposedly engaged. I'll show you this correspondence that they had. And here's another rumor that's going around. So there's some person that talked to a jeweler in Los Angeles, and they said that David and little Celeste would go to his jewelry store a lot, and they would purchase jewelry. And they also would purchase a diamond engagement ring. So the pieces are starting to come together very clearly here, what's going on. But anyways, this was what occurred back in September 11th, 2024. This person says, "You heard me, kid." Oh, sorry, let me just be clear. Deleted user, this used to be Celeste's account. This was her account, but now she no longer has the account. But let's just keep going now. It says, "You heard me, kid." They said, "Pretty." And then Celeste says, "Definitely matches the freak." Then she says, Celeste says, "Mr. Burke is mine." Then she says, and then this girl says, "Wait, you're engaged? A wing?" And they say, "Laughing my A off." She really meant a ring. Okay. But I don't know. These kids, they kind of talk a little weird these days. Again, Celeste says, "Mr. Burke is mine." And again, you have to know that David's full name is David Anthony Burke. So she's talking about David, D4VD artist. Then you saw here, this is what Celeste posted. She posted the ring that she got from David, and she has a tattoo on her finger, David. Now, you notice why the FBI has not talked about this particular tattoo, because they're keeping certain facts under wrap because they don't want to clue David in that he's a suspect at this time, because he could easily, get out the country, leave, you know what I mean? But he has recently canceled his different tours out of the country. And what I suspect is the authorities told him that you should not be traveling out of the country right now because we're investigating this and we need you here just in case we have questions. So that's probably why he canceled his tour recently. But this little girl, Celeste, who came up missing with just the arm, just her torso and some of her limbs and her head. There's a reason why she was dismembered. This girl was underage. People are wondering, okay, why would he underlive her? There's a lot of things going on, but one of the theories that I'm starting to come across, because like I said, David posted on one of the apps last year. He said he and Celeste were engaged and that they were having a child together. Okay, I don't know if he was joking about that or not. I can't find that one tomorrow. You guys have probably already seen it because I know a lot of you guys know this story. Okay, and this is a text message from Celeste to her friend. She said, Anissa, do not text. He came back. He's crying. Do not text me. The fact that he's crying, that's a manipulative tactic that older men will do to young girls to make them do what they say or manipulate them. Grooming to, so this little girl, she's going to see her shining armor crying, and so she's going to be groomed to do that. This person says, I'm staying. Don't text, and then get out. So anyways, that was a friend that was texting her back in 2024 when she went missing and ran away. I think when he started crying, it groomed her into wanting to listen to him and probably ran away. That's probably why she ended up running away. But anyway, sorry guys, I keep jumping everywhere because this is just too much, a lot of drama. Anyway, so there is this post going around that David posted I think it was last year, that he posted saying that Celeste could be pregnant. And I started to think to myself, I'm like, she was dismembered. They're missing body parts. What if she really did get pregnant? You got to think about this. This was an underage girl. And if she was pregnant, she would need to go to the doctor, get checkups. She would need to go, if she were to have labor, she'd have to go to the doctor. These different things require parental consent. And I'm going to show you a post where the parents say they did not know that she was at David's house. They had reported it to the police that she had been missing, that her boyfriend was David. They didn't know who David was. They didn't even know where she was. They said the many times they tried to report her missing, law enforcement just did not do anything about it. So they're claiming they didn't know. They just know that she said some guy she was dating named David. And she kept running away many times because there is allegations out there that Celeste came from a very broken home. She was going through a lot in her home, which is why she was running away to this David guy who kept grooming her and manipulating her into thinking he was going to marry her and she was going to be the only girl in his life, all these things, right? I'm starting to think, what if this little girl got pregnant? Okay, what if? And, that would have got him caught, and he didn't want to get caught being around underage girls. You see what he did to the little kid in Egypt, the 16-year-old kid, when he tried to expose him. He basically made the song they featured together be taken down. The kid got threatened by his lawyers and stuff like that. And he was paying Celeste's friends to keep quiet. So then I started to think to myself, what if Celeste got pregnant? And if she did get pregnant, the doctors, whoever she would go to get checkups or have basically give delivery to the birth of the child, they would want to know where her parents is, which would have basically required law enforcement to get involved, because if they don't tell who the parents are, then he could be exposed for being a PDF file. And here's another twist to this theory, guys. This guy right here is D4VD'S bodyguard, right? Here's some weird stuff going on here, guys. Fans are speculating that D4VD may be innocent after people are now believing his bodyguard, Marky next door, had a secret relationship with Celeste. Facts, best bodyguard he killed for me. I don't believe the secret relationship with Celeste part, but here's why I think it's kind of twisted. Marky is the security guard of D4VD. He has been his security guard since August 28th, 2022. He knew Celeste as well because she was associated with his client, D4VD, right? And then Celeste is right here back in 2022. So she knew of D4VD's security guard as well. And she says, "Hi, Mikey, you did great." Then D4VD, he says, "Facts, best bodyguard. He'd kill for me. He'd kill for me. This really is a disturbing indication from D4VD, because this could mean some type of conspiracy situation. It doesn't get D4VD off the hook. In fact, he still could be charged with murder if they have enough evidence basically to show that he told or instructed, if Marky's involved. Again, these are all speculation that I'm saying right now. But this is a statement from D4VD himself saying that he'd kill for him. So what if, we don't know how long this girl has been missing, but there's indications she might have been deceased in August 2025, because none of her friends have ever heard from her since August 2025. That's when they said they stopped hearing from her. And D4VD, during his tour, he has been hauling in caskets, flowers, doing a whole memorial, somewhat funeral type tour where people go and they do like these goodbyes to certain people. He's got bloody shirts for his certain merchandise. It's like he's doing a funeral for Celeste during his tours. My question is, what if he instructed Marky to unalive her and dismember her? He may have not directly have done it, but he may have instructed his security guard to do the dirty work and the security guard to dismember her body. And he might have dismembered her body to get rid of the pregnant, the fetus, get rid of the child. Because that's why certain body parts are missing. Because he might have gotten rid of the child and unalived her, and then just put her body in his Tesla. So this case might end up turning to this complicated web of conspiracy. Of D4VD may have paid his security guard to do it, instructing him to do it, because the words that he said back in 2022 about he'd kill for me is very disturbing. And now fans are going around wondering, did he instruct his security guard to do this? It's getting very, very, very convoluted. So I wanted to show you guys that. But now let's go to this disturbing interview that I have been dying to show you. That is absolutely disturbing. Okay. So 4 months ago, he did this interview with Zach Sang Show. And he's basically talking about his upcoming new album called Withered. It seems as though David has an obsession with flowers and using flowers as imagery. He used the white flowers, I believe, as like a sign of death to me. Purity, death. People say purity, but when I think of white flowers, I think of like the white dove. And when people usually use the white dove, it symbolizes someone who has passed away and gone into heaven. So I just think of the white dove as that. People think that the white flowers symbolize purity, and it could be that as well. And during this tour, he hauls in this casket, and he hauls in tons of white flowers that go over the casket. And then he sells these bloody white shirts to his, and it's not real blood, but it simulates blood basically, to his fans. So it looks like he's doing this public funeral for Celeste. That's what my theory is. Again, a theory and an opinion. But this interview right here, guys, this takes the icing on the cake. There's tons of other interviews out here, but in this interview, David says that he feels like the songs that he's wrote in the past is starting to become true in his life. Listen to this.
At that as like an internet kid, right? Like somebody who spends so much time playing video games behind a screen.
Yeah.
Like all these people that, yeah, they exist in this digital universe now exist
in real life.
Yeah, in front of you.
Crazy, bro. Like you're supposed to be a comment. Like you're a comment, bro. You're a like. That's crazy. You're really like real. It's so fire. I love them so much. Yeah.
It's amazing.
So cool.
So does it change the way you make art? Yes, obviously. It's how we got to Withered, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like in the process of, getting outside my house and exploring the world and finding friends, losing friends, finding relationships, losing relationships. It's just everything has kind of been shaping and leading up to this project in such a domino effect way,
Like just living life and it feeling
First red flag that people might have missed. He said he had, like in this interview, he talks about how he just was centered around these video games growing up, and he did not have social interactions in real life. And now that he's in this, you know, different era of his life, he's now learning how to interact with society. So in my mind, I feel like this man is really a child inside, and he seems to be drawn to the innocence of other kids and living vicariously through them, because he feels like he didn't truly have the experiences that most children have, because he was secluded. He was always in the video game world, always homeschooled. You know, he never got to know what it was like to develop friendships. That is a key issue that you see developed in people who have these psychopathic type mindsets and lack empathy in their hearts, because they don't have the skills to socialize with other humans. So that's another red flag you got to see there. But let's keep going.
This album is my life. Like, Withered is my life. Petals of Thorns and Lost Petals are what I wanted my life to be, and then Withered is my life.
Ooh.
Now look at the disturbing thing he said there. The other album that he did, he said that's what he wanted his life to be. Petals and Thorns was one of his EPs he had. But in that Petals and Thorns release, it was the romantic homicide. So it means this guy, he tries to, in another interview, he tries to basically say that romantic homicide song was imagery, that he didn't mean it to like actually have murdered a girl or the woman he was with. He meant only as like, oh, I murdered her in my mind, and you have to learn how to release the things in your mind. But if he's already thinking about killing people in his mind, that is disturbing. But he's saying he wanted his life to be that way. So you want your life to be like a murderer? He also says in another interview that he has this secret kind of personality, and it's like an evil part of him that likes to murder people, and then the good side of him likes to investigate the murders of his other evil side. That's what I'm saying. This guy has like a sociopath type mindset. But let's keep going.
Yeah.
So where do they align at all?
They do indeed, because like I said, I kind of felt like it was a prophetic thing that I was speaking about heartbreak and love and all these things I had never experienced before, but then I actually experienced them, and it's like, yo, I really said this about myself 2 years ago. It's happening.
But is it what you really expected?
It's weird because I have such a weird view and take on situations like that, because I'm always looking for writing material in these types of things. So instead of taking it to the chin, being like, oh my God, like I'm heartbroken, like I go straight to my phone or band lab, go straight to the studio and write about it. I never actually like fully process situations like that, because I'm always expecting it to happen, and then as soon as it happens, I'm writing about it. So
you're expecting. Let's break that down.
Yeah,
because I understand, like, you going immediately to art, like, as a means of coping.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But you saying expecting it, meaning like you get into a friendship expecting it to end in a devastating, tragic, sad way, so it can inspire art. But are you manifesting that in a certain degree?
I don't know. I hope I'm not. I really hope I'm not, because it feels that way. Because like I look back to old songs like Life's a Dream and all these songs I wrote in my closet or my sister's closet in 2022, when I'm looking at my life in the past 8 to 9 months, I'm like, whoa. Like, bro, these songs are soundtracking my life. So I hope I'm not involuntarily doing that, but it might be that way. Not gonna lie.
Absolutely disturbing. Did you not hear him literally say a freaking confession right there? He literally said that the songs that he has created is transpiring in his life now. This was this year, 4 months ago. And one of the songs he wrote 2 years ago was about killing somebody he once loved and did not feel any empathy. He didn't feel any regret for it. That is where I find this to be sick and disturbing. And he's saying that the songs that he's wrote is now manifesting. Look at the song he wrote 2 years ago. I'm scared. It feels like you don't care. Enlighten me, my dear. Well, let's get to that. Enlighten me, my dear. Let's get to the full version. Sorry, guys. It kind of went away. He literally just confessed. He said the songs that he's wrote are now a reflection of his real life. And the song he wrote 2 years ago talks about a young girl being killed. Look, in the back of my mind, you died, and I didn't even cry. No, not a single tear. And I'm sick of waiting patiently for someone that won't even arrive. In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. I hate you. This gets even more deeper. We could literally go a full day over the different disturbing songs he's done. He's done a song called Afterlife, a song called Ghost. The album Withered is disturbing. There's so many different songs that basically are describing. There's a song called Ghost on his album called Withered. And the lyrics to that song, let me actually Google the lyrics to that song real quick. That song is even more disturbing. There's a music video as well that he has where he's putting a body, which is his own body, in the back of a trunk. It's like he's literally using his own life and what has happened to this little girl. And you would have to ask yourself, how would he know that this girl was in the back of a trunk if he had nothing to do with it? Even if he didn't directly unalive her, even if he happened to instruct someone, which could possibly be the security guard. If he happened to do that, he would have been told what happened to her body, where her body was. So for him to do a music video of him putting a dead body, which would have been his body, they showed his body in the music video being put in the back of the trunk, and he's in this trunk trying to get out of it. But I still feel like he's trying to not directly say it was a woman to make it obvious what he's really confessing to. So he uses himself as the person that's in the back of the trunk, the dead person in the back trunk. But y'all, he's really basically confessing. Okay. He's just trying to do it in a way to make it look like he's the one that died. Okay. Now look at the lyrics for this song called Ghost. It says, oh, why don't you love me? Oh, hell or hell, we will meet. He's talking about someone who's already dead. Heaven or hell, we will meet. This, usually when someone dies, you'll say, oh, I'll see them again later on in heaven, or I'll see them again in another life. So him talking about heaven or hell, it's talking about afterlife. Someone died, and he actually did a song called Afterlife. Lucky me, just to have met. Torture me, I can't forget. Meaning I can't forget the traumatic night that she died and was dismembered. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. What y'all think? He said, he might have you, but I've got your ghost. Look at that. We both know that's the real you, and God knows it's true. I love you the most, but we both know what I had to do. Look, what I have to do. So you feel like you had to kill her? This is sometimes what sick psychopaths say. They'll be like, I loved her, but they become so obsessive and so possessive over these people or these women or whatever. And, they will end up killing the person and still saying, oh, I love this person. It's like the obsession becomes so deep. And you could tell he's very obsessed, and she's always on his mind, even after he murdered her. That's why he says, I can't forget, because his whole life is still centered around her. His entire tour was centered around her. He did use caskets to memorialize her. His whole Instagram is centered around her. The little girl was missing wearing Hello Kitty sandals, and she loved Hello Kitty Crocs. She loved Hello Kitty. She was in a photo with a Hello Kitty keychain. Now he has made Hello Kitty his obsession. He has Hello Kitty as his center profile page on Instagram. He has several images on his Instagram with Hello Kitty. He's now taken over this young girl's life. It's like he was obsessed with this little girl and was so obsessed with her, and he was so afraid of losing her. He felt the need to unalive her, either because once she got pregnant, he was trying to cover that up, or he was obsessively jealous because she had wanted to go home. And there was a social media post of him talking about how she wanted to go home. And he told her how that could not happen under the circumstances. So she may have started saying, hey, I want to go home. I miss my parents. Her birthday is coming up. And, he didn't want her to go. And he could have either, one, been the one to unalive her, or two, had someone else do it. And it could possibly be that security guard who he said would kill for him. We don't know. Again, these are all theories. But it is something that we need to analyze here to see what are the connections. Now, this other song called Afterlife is another disturbing song he has on Withered. Withered is a sign of death. When you have a flower that has withered, it has died. He's using all these imageries to talk about death. And death in terms of what's happening now, we have a dead body of a woman he had been, not a woman, I keep saying woman, of a little girl, an underage teenage girl who probably didn't even get to see her 15th birthday. It appears as though there's claims that she might have died August 2025, based even on some of the imagery he put in the tour, because there's a tour flyer where he talks about how the person died, which he's talking about himself, but really I'm thinking he's talking about Celeste, died August 2025. But anyways, let's look at this afterlife lyrics here. It says, something missing from inside of me. Someone stole what wasn't mine. The devil told me you were good for me. My mother told me he would lie. So you're manipulating, saying that Celeste, the devil brought this desire for this young underage girl to him. Lying, right? What doesn't kill you waits for later. What tries to keep you alive fails. I thought a girl would make me happy. Real love is not for sale. So now he's saying he's not happy with the relationship, basically, with this little girl. So I'll buy what I can as I try to pretend something else is making me cry when you cross the line. I'm still by your side. I crossed it with you. And when I die, you're holding the knife. I'll love you from the afterlife. From the afterlife, I'll love you from the afterlife. That's just sick. Like, are you saying you love her? Afterlife is like she's dead. He's trying to say it's him, right? He's trying to say it's him that's died. It's really the girl that died, basically. And when I die, you're holding the knife. Look at how he's talking about a particular death weapon. What are some type people use to kill people? Knife, right? In this situation, the body was dismembered. They had to have used a sharp object to dismember her body. The fact that he's talking about holding a knife, and that might have been what took this person's life and they died. He's trying to say I died, but again, I don't think. And why did all his songs have to do about death and afterlife and ghosts? This man, it has some sick thought processes, right? And how he's talking about all this stuff is coming to pass now. So anyways, this is a disturbing song here. Again, I Love You from the Afterlife, another disturbing song on his album. He also has another song that was not leaked yet. It was leaked. Sorry, it was not a song he released, but it was leaked by somebody else. And in that song, he talks about thinking he got away with a certain crime, but however, he spoke too soon. He's now in the back of a police car. So it's like the stuff that he is saying is very disturbing. Now, let's go a little bit deeper. There is some more disturbing confessions that need to be unfolded, right? He had a sick alter ego. And
dance is more than just using your body.
Sorry, this YouTuber, she pretty went really deep, and I wanted to show you this video because it's so disturbing.
About the David situation when it comes to Celeste. And let me tell you, I've been deep down this rabbit hole, and what I just discovered is actually scaring me so bad it's not even funny. Okay, so we know David's first show for his tour was on July 30th of 2025, and this is where fans were capturing that he had a whole funeral set up for this first show. I'm sure you guys remember this video going all over everybody.
Look at this, guys. This was his tour. He got photos up. He got the white roses imagery showing, you know, the afterlife, someone who had passed away. And who would bring a freaking casket in to a tour? This man is suffering from the guilt of this girl's death. It is haunting him. You see how he said he can't forget what happened in the song he wrote. I can't forget it. I'll never forget it. This is because the murder of this girl this girl's spirit has been tormenting him. It's tormenting him so much and eating away at him so much. He can't seem to stop thinking about and obsessing. The fact that he's even strategically not posting any more posts after he posted on September 7th, her birthday. Everything he does seems to be centered around this girl, from how he releases his songs on September 7th, what he posts on his Instagram. He stops on the days of her birthday. This man had a sick, demented mind, still thinking about this girl. And now he feels like because she is dead, and he has her corpse, he still owns the ghost of her. So even if she, you know, what if she had been texting another man and he got jealous because he has that sick way of thinking? And now that he unalived her, he has this sick, decrepit mind of thinking, oh, I have your corpse now. You know what I mean? It's just very sick. He has this song called One More Dance too, that I'm going to show you after this video here. where, again, I want to show you the imagery where he is posting this. He's dragging a dead body, which is his body, and puts it in a trunk. We're going to get to that, but let's keep going.
These For You pages right now, because it was just really, really odd.
That's sick. You see how the fans, I can't believe how these fans fell for this. They're wearing the bloody shirts they're picking up the obituary and going past this casket. This man did this for Celeste. This was supposed to be an imagery of her casket. Disgusting.
He even has this obituary, but as you can see, Atami is the name, and in Japanese, this means pain. And Atami is actually his alter ego. And just stay with me because I'm about to play you a clip of him talking about this Atami alter ego and how he is an unaliver and all of this crazy stuff. As this date, February 2023 to August 2025. And this part really just made me feel unsettled because I started digging into the date because I found it really weird that people on Reddit, before they found out Celeste, were alleging that Celeste's friends lost communication with her in August. Here's that Reddit post that was going around, and they were talking about a girl named C that they were saying would go on trips to LA and that she was in 9th grade. And it turns out C's friends knew that David would allegedly pay them to keep their mouth shut about this relationship. Mind you, this Reddit post was before they identified Celeste as being the one in the trunk, but they knew somebody was in this trunk. So the day that they found out it was Celeste, somebody commented and said, your timelines don't match up because she's been missing since 2024. And this person responded, yes, she was missing for that long officially, but she still had friends who were in contact with her. Again, I'm not sure what her family life was like. It seemed very broken to me, which makes me believe she didn't want to go back home. What I meant was my sister and her friends lost all contact with her for over a month. Since early or mid-August. I'm not too sure.
Wow. The numbers are lining up. He put on that little obituary February 2025 to August 2025. Her friends, Celeste's friends, lost contact with her early August 2025 to mid-August 2025. It's sounding as though this girl was unalived in August, around the time he was on tour, which in my opinion takes us right back to that possible other person who he instructed to also possibly unalive her and dismember her, because maybe she could have even been pregnant, or who knows why they did the dismembering part. What if that security guard or someone else he may have instructed to do this sick act? And now the question is why they left that body in the trunk. I don't know. Or you call it the frunk because it was in the front trunk or whatever you want to call it. The front trunk of the Tesla. But if she went missing in August when he was on tour, it was set up that way to make it look like he has an alibi. Oh, I'm on tour. I couldn't have anything to do with this. A lot of people drive my car. Again, Teslas, you can't just break in that car and steal it. You can't. It has to be someone you give the permission to use, meaning you give them the key or the passcode or whatever for them to be able to access the Tesla. No one can just drive a Tesla without the driver have either given them the access to do so, given them the key. There's like this way to use it in that way if he gave them the key. So it has to be either somebody in D4VD'S camp, like some of you guys are saying, or it could possibly be that security guard. Because why did D4VD say that security guard Marky would kill for him? He also knew of Celeste. So this is getting deep. This might have been a conspiracy like RICO case where he could have instructed someone to do this. There's a lot to this story. It would not get him off the hook though for what happened.
This part started making me more nervous because the neighbors that were across the street of David's house that was just searched by police where the Tesla was found was turned in by neighbors for being abandoned. Sources from that neighborhood said the car had been sitting in that spot on Bluebird Avenue for at least 3 weeks. Based off timelines from reports, we know that this car would have been towed in the early part of September because it sat in the tow yard for a few days before they noticed the smell coming out of it And then on September 8th is when they would open that trunk and find who we now know is Celeste in that trunk. So the neighbors were saying that the car was sitting in the same spot for 3 weeks, which would take you to August. Now we're going to talk about David's alter ego, Tommy, because what he says in this interview about his
Wow, guys, and that makes sense with the timeline, because when the officers found her body in that tow yard back on September 8th, that means her body would have been decomposing for at least a month or so, right? So the timeline's starting to add up that she possibly may have been unalived August 2025 and her body placed in the trunk. The question is, who did this? Was it done in the house? It may not have been, because the officers have searched the place where he was staying. That place was only within a few blocks from the house he was staying in. The house was being rented by D4VD'S manager, but D4VD was staying there and actually did an interview with Selena Gomez's boyfriend in that particular house before. So there's evidence he's been in there. But the officers and FBI and everything have been in that house trying to check for blood. They've been doing certain examinations. Is it Illumina, whatever they've been using? You guys know what it is. To basically check for blood or evidence of blood to see if she was unalived in the house. But what's ironic is how her body, some of her parts were left in that car. So there could be another theory that they may have committed this murder somewhere else and then just dismembered her body. And it kind of is making sense to me that maybe what if she was pregnant and they didn't want, again, he didn't want the pregnancy to get out, or maybe she wanted to go home and he didn't want this to be exposed, because D4VD has been spending many times, as you've seen him, shut down the 16-year-old kid from Egypt from talking, other people, threatening other people online who tried to expose him back in 2023 as being this PDF file who had been targeting underage girls. So he did not want his secret to be exposed. And so it seems to me he would do anything to cover it up. But I feel like the death of this girl has been eating away at him. And so he has used her death as a way to market his songs. His songs are all about this girl's death. The album Withered has been centered around her death. You see how he said in the interview, the songs he's wrote years ago, which, you know, Romantic Homicide was wrote years ago, and how he basically these songs are starting to come to pass in his life. This man is telling everybody what he did through his songs and music videos. It's disgusting. But let's keep going, because this girl, she really gave us some deep stuff. Before we keep going though, guys, I gotta show you this video. I gotta show you. This is sick. Okay, this is one of the songs he did here called One More Dance. It's 7 months ago he posted this. Look at him. He's with that bloody shirt on, pulling the dead body out with this blindfold on. And again, this is what he calls his alter ego. He calls this is his alter ego who commits all these murders. And the live part of him, the other side, who's supposed to be the good side, investigates these crimes. So he has two different competing spirits he claims to be living inside of him. And the imagery here on this video called One More Dance is showing the demonic evil side that killed the good side. Let's see this. But this is sick, because to me, it looks like this song means is the death of Celeste. I'm looking at it that way, and how her body is dragged into the trunk. But y'all be the judge, okay? I'm not going to play the song because of copyright, but I'm going to play the video without the song, so it'll be muted. So see here, he's dragging this dead body, but when you see, it's going to be him. But I think he just made this him because he didn't want to draw too much attention to this video as being a woman. You know what I mean? He didn't want it to be too obvious to viewers that, hey, this is really, he's really showing people what he did to Celeste, of course, or whoever the person was at the time. This was 7 months before this whole thing got exposed. He doesn't want his situation to be exposed, but look how he's pulling the dead body and putting it in the trunk of the car. Look at the girl here with the curly hair. That hairstyle looks exactly like Celeste's hairstyle. So a lot of these videos that he's been doing, he makes the girl look just like Celeste with curly hair. The girls always seem to mimic Celeste, which again is showing you his obsession with this girl. And look at the other different part of this. Celeste, who he's trying to show the image of, is with a new man. And he's this dead soul looking jealously at her in love with someone else. And this is what he's always been afraid of. He's very possessive, very jealous, very controlling. And if A woman he's in love with is even smiling at another man, congratulating another man. He gets very possessive and turns into this very aggressive, vile person to the point where he could unalive the woman due to his obsession because he doesn't want to see her with someone else. It's disturbing. This song right here really disturbed me because it's like so much meanings in this song. Oh, I forgot to show you the part too. I just turned it off, guys, but I want to show you this key part here because he's literally confessing the crime. I'm sorry, I just took it out. He's literally confessing what he did, or what he had someone else do in this song. Now, in this part right here, it makes it look like these people, the woman he loves is with someone else, and he's dead inside watching. They killed him, and now they're getting rid of evidence of what they did. Right? He's trying to make it look like they've done this to him, and they're taking his dead body and basically about to discard evidence related to the murder. Look how they're just throwing it under the water. This is giving me chills because this is probably literally what happened with Celeste. But he's trying to make it look like the woman he loves has moved on with someone else and has basically killed his soul. But he's so upset about it, and they're trying to get rid of evidence and unalive this man that she was once with. You see how he's trying to like flip it around and make it look like he's heartbroken watching his woman move on with someone else, and they killed him, and they are now discarding his body, and they don't care about how he feels and have unalived him. But in reality, if you flip this video around, it seems as though he got jealous in this fatal obsession and unalived her, discarded some of that evidence in the pond, and then buried some of her ligaments. Look, now they're trying to pretend like it's he that's died and he that's being buried. But when you flip around the facts here, it's like he's still indirectly confessing what happened in the Celeste situation. You see what I'm saying? But this is his dark mind. Like, he feels this way also. Like that, like I said, there's double imagery here. He feels this way also that if he sees a woman he loves moving on, it's like she killed him. Her and the person who are mocking this situation is as if they killed the internal soul of him. Yet he's also showing the imagery of what likely happened with he and Celeste. So it seems like an indirect confession. But let's keep going with what she had said. That is another disturbing video, but she's going to keep going on with more disturbing instances in this tragedy.
Alter ego sent chills up and down my spine.
I had the idea to kind of make this first music video introduce a character that I had been kind of ideating for a really long time. That's why you see him with the blindfold and the bloody shirt aesthetic and the bow tie. I'm really big into anime, and I'm really big into manga. And I wanted to make my own manga series at one point, and I was writing a lot of poems and writing a lot of things for it. And a big part of that manga was an evil version of me named Itami, which means pain in Japanese. And he wears his blindfold, and he's basically an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego. And the story of the manga went like I was a detective, and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden. And he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as a detective. So like when I was as a detective, I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself. And it was like a cool little story. I didn't think anything would come of it. Like, it was in the vault for like months and months and months. And I introduced it for the first time on screen because I had the opportunity with music to kind of explore this idea further with the Romantic Homicide music video. And people were asking so many questions. I was like, yo, this is kind of fire, because like nobody would have ever heard of it if it wasn't for this music video. But Itami was a staple of this music video. You kind of see him throughout the entire thing. He's holding the knife with a bloody thing. You get the girl who's basically like the ghost of the person that he was his first victim in the manga.
At this point, it's like he's literally...
My God, guys, he's literally confessing. So he was describing to you what the blindfold guy, which is him with the bloody shirt, symbolizes the evil form of him who commits these murders. Nobody thinks like this unless they really do want to manifest some sick stuff like this. Nobody. This guy is sick, okay? Then he turns around and talks about the first girl he murdered. He's saying this in a freaking interview. He murdered Then it turns around. There's a murdered young girl chopped up in his freaking trunk. Look at the splashes on the bloody white shirt. It symbolizes something. When this girl was getting cut up, her blood was splattered everywhere. I feel like when he killed her, I feel like it was a rage. I feel like she died a horrific death, as if it was some type of stabbing or violent way she went out because of some obsession he had with her. But now he's literally telling his fans through imagery what he did, even from the point of how he is doing his tour, the bloody shirts he's selling, the casket, the music videos, everything that he has done throughout art has shown people the sick, decrepit mind that this guy has. It's disgusting. In this interview, literally, he's describing the music video that I just showed you, where you can see him with the blindfold and the bloody shirt dragging this corpse. And then later on, he talks about how he murdered a girl, like he talked about in the interview. And that's like, dude, you're literally confessing right now. And nobody saw this.
Envisioning all of this, and I'm not saying that he for sure did it, because he is still innocent until proven guilty, but that is absolutely crazy. It's like what he is talking about is now actually happening. There is no dang way. And now in this tour, he is talking about this alter ego now passed away August of 2025. Why he has this casket and everything set up on this very first show that he did. The same exact time frame that neighbors are saying that car was parked across the street from where he lived, and also Celeste's friends are saying that is the last time they talked to Celeste was sometime in August. Now at this point, I am honestly really disturbed. If it comes out that David is in fact guilty at this point, it really could be premeditated. I feel like at this point, I have been way too far down this rabbit hole, because it just keeps going and going. And I swear each time I am getting more and more disturbed. Well, let me know what you guys think about.
Absolutely disturbing. Did you hear that? It's just the pieces keep coming together of how disturbing this is, from how he's been premeditating about this 2 years ago to how in the interview that I showed you first, the first one I showed you, how he said the very songs he did years ago are now coming to pass. They're now manifesting in his life. How he told that interviewer how he always presumes every relationship he has is going to turn into some type of disaster or heartbreak, and what he would do basically to that person in heartbreak of terms of, oh, mentally they die in my mind, but then he sings about killing someone. It's like, and he tries to make it sound like it's just some imagery he's using, but in reality, it's this deep internal desire he has to do, and he tries to distance his rational self from the irrational evil side of him by calling it an alter ego and some evil part of him that wants to unalive people. And the very first person he says in that interview that he unalived was a girl or a woman. Guys, he literally is confessing. Like, I can't even tell you enough. Now, there's more that comes to this. There is little Celeste's teacher has come out, and the teacher has talked about how, you know, he was teaching her and she had been running away many times, coming up missing, and he says how the parents would find her and bring her back to school and then she'd be missing again. And he's trying to warn his kids about this, but this is also going to be a very important part of the story to show his connection with D4V. Show Celeste's connection with D4VD. Let's hear this.
Attention. The question is, what happened to Celeste Rivas? A teacher of the late teen girl apparently saw warning signs before tragedy struck.
That's her in my classroom in front of...
A teacher is captured on cell phone video telling his students that Celeste Rivas, the 15-year-old girl found dead inside singer David Anthony Burke's Tesla, had been his student and that he knew she had run away a couple of times.
So when I taught her, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA.
TMZ was the first to report on the teacher's comments.
There's certainly photo and video evidence that she was most likely with David. They were hanging out together. It's unclear if this was a romantic relationship.
Rivas' teacher put out a video, and it may be the smoking gun in the case.
Nima Rahmani, president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, says the teacher's claims are damaging because Celeste was only 13 when she first went missing in April 2024. If investigators confirmed she ran away with David at that time, he would have been 18.
The mere fact that an 18-year-old is in the presence of a 13-year-old who had run away is not unlawful. But if there's any sexual activity, if there was any force or coercion, that could be kidnapping, that could be rape, that could be trafficking. That's the exposure that David has, setting aside the fact that she's now been found dead.
One day after the medical examiner identified the remains in the Tesla as those of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, LAPD investigators served a search warrant at David's home in the Hollywood Hills on Wednesday night, seizing electronics and computers. Ironically, David first broke into the music scene in 2022. Romantic Homicide went viral on TikTok. Social media users are now pointing to his music videos, noting that they feature a woman resembling Celeste. There's also one scene showing a body being placed in a trunk.
In terms of incriminating evidence, at this point, it is not clear he did anything wrong. It is his car.
And that is the part people are trying to have questions on. You have to understand the prosecutor has to prove a murder beyond a reasonable doubt. We may see all these different clues, but the prosecutor that has to have the evidence that backs it up, meaning they have to do the tests on the different parts of the house to see if to connect her to the house. Basically, they have to run the tests on the car. They have to put the pieces together to show David was involved in this. And this case might be a little bit more complicated than people realize, because there may be more people involved in this than just David who were working for him. You see how the bodyguard, how David said the bodyguard would kill for him. There may be other people involved, his administration, the staff that might be involved in this conspiracy, because if his security guard knew that he was dating this underage 13-year-old girl, right? Then how many more staff members, the manager, all these people knew about this underage girl? And they're going to do whatever they can to support their client to be successful, because they make money too off of this person. So I feel like there's a lot more involved in this. Of course, I do believe D4VD has a part in it, but I feel there may be more people involved in it, which means this case is a little bit more complicated, and why he has not been arrested yet. Because a lot of people are like, well, why hasn't he been arrested yet? Blah, blah, blah. There's all this evidence. Well, it's because they have to really thoroughly do all the investigation to present a strong case. And so they can't just arrest him immediately just because they have these images. Now, this was a statement from Celeste's family recently, because a lot of people have been harassing the family. And so they wanted people to know, hey, look, we did not know that she was with this guy, David. We knew that she was dating a boy named David, but they had no clue where she was. This is what they're saying, because people started bullying them because they have a GoFundMe. And they bullied them so much that they ended up taking it down and putting it somewhere else, because they were trying to find out who posted it. And because it was the little girl's aunt that posted the GoFundMe, they started looking into whatever her account was to get a hold of her and all that. So then they had to take the GoFundMe down and put a new one up that didn't link it to the family. But let's read what the family said here. The family says, hey, everyone, I've been reading through the comments and I just want to be clear. I want to clear a few things up. First, we are absolutely not trying to scam anyone. Every single donation is going directly to where it's supposed to. The GoFundMe was originally created by Celeste Tia herself. She did post it, but later had to take it down because people were digging into her account and finding personal information about the family. Out of respect for their privacy and to protect them during this really painful time, we've decided to share it here instead. Adding on to this, we want to be clear that we did not know where Celeste was. And we also didn't know who David was. The police haven't shared any information about him with us either. Her funeral will likely be in 2 to 3 weeks once everything has been finalized. When this is all over, we'll be deactivating this account. We are not clout chasing and we are not scamming anyone. We're simply trying to honor Celeste and support her family through this. This fundraiser is simply about helping the family through an incredibly hard moment where we really appreciate everyone's support, kindness, and prayers. Gracias de corazón for almost helping us reach the goal. They said thank you from their heart for almost helping them reach the goal. So this is a picture of the full family here. Her mom right here, her dad. These are her siblings. This was little Celeste right here when she was little. How sweet right here. And this is her two little sisters and brother. That's sad. This little brother too, he's also been interviewed as well, saying, you know, they tried to call the police. And then they also said, yes, I do have access to her archive, but nothing from this account should go public. Police told us not to share any evidence since nothing has been finalized, and we're not even being updated on what's happening. For now, everything will stay private. Also, thank you all. We're close to reaching the GoFundMe goal. Gracias por todo su apoyo. Significa mucho. So that was what she said. And this was this was the GoFundMe here, the image. They raised about $18,000 now. I actually do have that GoFundMe that I can show you guys. Wait, it said it's not found anymore. What? Where did GoFundMe go? Okay, here it is. Okay, guys, let me just show you the GoFundMe so I can read it to you. And I'll see about seeing if I can attach it in the comments after I get off this live later on. But here it is. So here it is, the GoFundMe. They have since raised the full amount. They raised $20,000. Wow, $20,019. And they wanted to raise 20,000 goals, so they reached their goal. But they said, help lay Celeste Rista Hernandez to rest. This was their GoFundMe here. It was organized by Esmeralda Lozano. They said, as many of you know, Celeste Rivas Hernandez has been identified as the body found last week. She was a beloved daughter, sister, cousin, and friend. Her family is heartbroken and devastated by this tragic loss. They are seeking help to lay her body to rest. Any funds you are able to donate are greatly appreciated. The Rivas Hernandez family. And then they just put it in Spanish here. She was a really pretty little girl, too. A pretty little girl. She did not deserve that. Just took advantage of this little girl. She was a kid. Like, man, when I was her age, I was playing with Barbie dolls, going to school. I wasn't thinking about having sex with a boy, a grown man at that. It's like some people are wishing her well. They said, wishing you strength and sending love as you grieve this unimaginable loss. No one deserves to go through something like this. Rest in peace, Celeste, and nothing but good will happen. And love to her family. So that's the GoFundMe. It's so sad. This story is very dark and decrepit. And when celebrities like this are involved in this, it does take a very long, exhaustive investigation to make sure they dot their I's and cross their T's, because these celebrities have deep pockets and they have very strong legal support and backing. So these prosecutors are going to make sure they dig everything they can to make the case ironclad. But here's another photo here you can see of little Celeste with David here. So there's so many images of them coming out showing that they had been together. I mean, he can't deny that. And it's kind of interesting. I wonder what he said before the body was identified, because there was a part in time when the body was not identified, right? And now all these images coming out of him and with the girl right here, where she's trying to cover herself. And notice how she kept covering herself, because she had ran away. So they tried not to post her images out there, because then it would associate it with him as the one that kept her or took her or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's why she was posting these pictures with him hiding herself. But since this has been going on, these different pictures have been leaked out in public. Oh, this is not her. There's another image of him with the Hello Kitty. You see the Hello Kitty jacket? He's literally stole this girl's identity. She has obsession. This little girl had obsession with Hello Kitty, and now he took over her identity and started posting with all these Hello Kitty things. It's almost like he's paying homage to her, because he knows she loved Hello Kitty so much that now that she's unalived, he pays homage to her and everything, from his obsession with Hello Kitty, the profile. You know, when someone dies, right? You'll pay the person you care about, you'll put their picture as their profile, as your profile in an honor to them. Well, it seems like that's what he did with his Instagram. The Instagram has this photo of Hello Kitty, right? And it looks so innocent, but I believe he did the profile with the Hello Kitty as his profile as a way to pay homage to Celeste, because Celeste loved Hello Kitty. I mean, she was last seen with her Hello Kitty Crocs, and then she was holding in a picture a Hello Kitty. But notice how he's posted this image here on his profile of a Hello Kitty now. And now he always has this obsession. He posts a lot of things on his Instagram with Hello Kitty. He met Hello Kitty recently. He wears the Hello Kitty clothing because, in my humble opinion, it feels like it's this memorial dedication to Celeste. You know what I mean? Because she died. And he can't come out and post her picture on a profile because then they'll give it away, right? So the Hello Kitty is a symbol, a symbolistic way of paying homage to Celeste, whom I believe he has something to do with her death, in my opinion. Again, all of this is allegations because law enforcement have not come out and accused him yet, because they're laying low and they're trying to build their case and make it solid, just like they did in the P. Diddy case. And in any other case against a celebrity, it has to be ironclad, because these celebrities have deep pockets and their attorneys are very skillful. They're one of some of the most skillful, top-notch attorneys in the industry of law. So when it comes to accusing a celebrity, law enforcement, and in any case, because beyond a reasonable doubt is the highest burden of proof in the United States, and the prosecutor has to prove that. Mind you, defense does not have any burden of proof. So they have to be careful. I know a lot of people are very enraged, like, why isn't this guy arrested? They can't just arrest him. They got to make sure they're careful. But this guy's literally confessing right here. You see this? That he posted this Hello Kitty? It's like he's paying homage to her. Like a way of, and then how he posts on her birthday and has never posted ever since. He posted this last post on Instagram on September 7th, the little girl's birthday. It's as if he's paying homage. This album, Withered, was dedicated to her. It doesn't look like he released his last album. It was supposed to come out on the 19th, guys, and I don't think he released it because he's being investigated. Let me check. But I believe that album might also have been paying homage to that little girl. Okay, let's see if it was ever released. It was not released. It was supposed to be released on Friday, and it didn't get released. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. And then all the music videos he has, they seem to have images that of women that look like him, like that song L-O-V-E, Love You, L-O-V-E. Let me see if I can find it. It's called L-O-V-E, Love You, right? I'm going to show you that real quick. The little girl kind of let me see, does she look a little bit like him? Well, no, that Asian girl doesn't really look like him, look like Celeste. But I do feel there's a lot of music videos on there. If you guys go on his page, y'all, he does a lot of videos that have girls that look like him. Like the last one I showed you with the girl with the curly hair. He's obsessed. After she's even unalived, everything is centered around this little girl. So y'all let me know what y'all think. It seems very sick right now as this case develops. What do you think about the new information that we got? Do you guys think he's involved? What's your opinion on all this crazy stuff? May the little girl rest in peace. It's still very, very a sad story. Talk to your kids. And especially the biggest thing I want to say is, if you do have kids, make sure you're very heavily involved in their social media. Make sure you're very heavily involved in their social media, because this is how these predators target these little girls. They target them through social media, through these different apps like Twitch and X and TikTok and the one where the little girl was targeted. What was that? I just forgot the name of it, guys. Y'all let me know in the chat where David targeted this little girl. There's 6 sociopaths like that on there that target these innocent little girls. I love y'all. All right. Take care. Like, comment, and subscribe.